All right. So I can hear Riley. Riley can hear me, and I'm
Excellent.
pretty sure everyone else can hear us now because I can see my mic audio going well, and I can hear yours going as well. So, all right. Second time's the charm, not the third time. Okay.
Fingers are crossed.
Fingers crossed. Welcome, guys. Thanks for staying with us. And it might have actually given some people who arrived late. I think we had a little bit more people in concurrent viewers here. So, welcome to the Perth Observatory. My name is Matt, and I've just spent the last 20 minutes trying to figure out why why the audio wasn't working between Riley and I, and it ended up being my headphones. That was an OBS Ninja that we run to talk to each other. All right, so if you don't know what you've walked into, well, apologies for that. Well, thank you for joining us. My name is Matt Woods, and I'm the tour administrator and a volunteer here at the Perth Observatory. And tonight, helping me show you the wonders of the universe, I've got Riley from Stargazers Club WA. Welcome, Riley. Who are you?
Thank you.
And why are we friends?
Who am I and why are we friends? Well, I work, as you said, with Stargazers Club WA and also work with Astro Tourism WA, a partner organisation to Stargazers Club. And I guess we're friends because we both are very, very passionate about the night sky.
Yes,
we're here tonight on a cloudy night to try and show what we can off.
And I think this is your third or fourth time now on the
Yeah, I think it's
virtual star parties.
Yeah, one of the two. Who's counting?
Yeah. So this is your first time on a cloudy night for us. So we've had a good run. I don't think we've had a cloudy night since winter last year. So we've had a good run, but don't worry, folks. We've got still some fantastic stuff to show you tonight. Before we get into the show, we've got some fantastic. If I can bring it up here, some fantastic astrophotography stuff, workshops coming up. So, Roger, who you might have seen on these workshops before, on these live streams before, and I are heading up north in mid-August to do some astrophotography workshops in Geraldton with Ken Lawson, who you've also seen on the virtual star parties before. We're going to do one in Carnarvon as well, and also in Kalbarri. Because why we're doing this is because we're going up to Gascoyne Junction for our yearly Gascoyne Junction astronomy night. So we're going to do the Geraldton Nightscape workshop at the Walkaway Wind Farms lookout, and it's a really fantastic place. Roger and I went there last year on our way up to Gascoyne Junction and took a lovely photo. This happens to be mine. And you can book on the website for that one. We also have the Carnarvon one, which is going to be fairly new for us as well. We're going to do this at Rocky Pool in Carnarvon, so it should be fairly good in terms of dark sky from light pollution, little light pollution from Carnarvon. We will have the moon, but it will be a slightly largest crescent, so you might get some nice shots of the Milky Way with the Milky Way, and so that's going to be on Friday the 13th, and the Geraldton one's on the 12th of August, the Thursday, and then we have the Gascoyne Junction event. So we're going to be going out there. We're going to be in the Gascoyne Junction Pavilion, and there's going to be some really cool food there. And I can tell you from last year, it was really good skies out there. It's very little light pollution. And then we're going to be doing our Kalbarri Nightscape workshop on Sunday the 15th. So there is on each of these pages, if you do want to come to two or three of the Kalbarri, two or three of the Nightscapes workshops, there is a coupon code for 10% off across those two or three. But if you just want to go to one, we'd be happy to show you the night sky and help you take photos as well. So Roger's a really fantastic astrophotography. He's very modest, but he's also a fantastic teacher. So he'll it's amazing what he can get people doing who haven't even shot the night sky. Some of the photos I've seen them taking, I'm going, maybe I should spend a little bit more time and
under Roger's watchful eye.
Yeah. So I always ask Roger. He's my go-to guy for when I need to ask. The stargazing under the junction is you do need to book. There is you can actually go to our website to the Eventbrite page. It's free, but they just need to know numbers so they have the right amount of food. But we'll actually get started in showing you the cool objects of the night sky. So let's pull up Riley's screen, and Riley, you can tell us what we are looking at right here.
All right, so we're starting off our tour of the cosmos tonight with an object known as the Prawn Nebula, or IC 4628.
Yep.
This is what we call an emission nebula. So this glowing red clouds of gas are doing quite literally that. They're emitting their own light, and that red tells us that there's actually quite a bit of hydrogen present in those clouds there.
Ionized hydrogen, I'm guessing.
Ionized hydrogen, nonetheless. My mistake. And this one sits at about 6,000 light years away from us. So at any given night, pointing your telescope into this vicinity of the cosmos, you've got about a 6,000 year signal delay coming from the object.
So what we'll do is we'll quickly show the guys where the actual where it is in the night sky. Let's have a look. All right, so we've got our lovely night sky. We'll turn on the artwork for you. And so we are looking in Scorpius, and we turn on the catalogs. We zoom in, we're zooming in, and that's it right there, the Prawn Nebula. So there's some quite really nice stuff in that stinger, the tail of the Scorpion as well. So we had a look last time. We had a look at the butterfly cluster. That's near the stinger. Over here, we've got Ptolemy's cluster. We've got the Prawn Nebula here. We were hoping to show you the False Comet Nebula and cluster tonight, but alas, the clouds decided to stick around for the night. So, and you wonder why we call them our mortal enemies. So, so it is actually about the nebula's about 250 light years across. So it's a decent size nebula there. So yeah, and so I'm just going to bring it back up. You've done a really good job. How long were you doing with the exposures there?
This will be pushing me. I shot this one about a year ago, and it was probably max around 3.5 hours of exposures altogether. I think they were 5-minute individual subs.
Yep.
This one was probably the best work I managed to get out of last year. Last year's winter season at the very least.
Yeah, you've really got. You can see all the nice, the redness coming. You can even see some of some blue coming in the middle where it's as well. So the redness is the ionized hydrogen that's glowing. So very much like a neon sign. So when you see a neon sign, it's actually causing you've got an electrical current going through the gas, and that's causing it to glow. So it is, and guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the Discord chat. If you haven't joined the Discord chat, you can. There's a link down in the description of this video, and you can ask them as well. So there's at least 2 O type stars. So these are the big boys. They live hard, they die young as well, and very much like Janis Joplin, Bob Marley, Amy Winehouse, and that. But they'll end their lives in a supernova before collapsing either into, probably more likely, a black hole, but into a neutron star as well. So they, in terms of stars of life, our sun's a middle of the road star. It's had 4.5 billion years, and it's got probably another 4.5 billion years to go. And but these really big stars only last for 10 to 50 million years. So yeah. And what's left, from the explosions of these supernovas, they actually reseed the galaxy to form new stars in their own nebulas as well. Oh yeah, so that's really, I really love looking at that. I'm memorized.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure, yeah. It's always interesting to see how, I think you can see the prawn, like the prawn tail.
Yeah, kind of. I've never. You got to really squint, but I kind of see this almost ridge of gas through here as the tail and back of the prawn. But
I would imagine the shell has been taken off and it's been butterflied as well. So yeah.
Careful.
Yeah. Oh, you've never done the sliding down the back and then pulling out the the back. I had to do that. So it's also called Gum 56 by the Australian astronomer Colin Stanley Gum, who published his catalogue of hydrogen alpha regions in 1955 as well. So yeah, and it is about 6,000 light years away from us. So you're seeing light that has travelled 6,000 years. It takes over 200 years, 250 years to get from one side to the other side as well. So this is a star nursery. This is where baby stars are being formed right now, and so the next stage will be an open star cluster, which we've seen in the previous virtual star parties, like the jewel box, the butterfly cluster. I think we've shown Ptolemy's cluster before.
I think there's a couple off to the left-hand side here.
Yeah,
I just managed to get in. They're not the focus, but they're little ones, it seems.
Yeah, I think that might actually be this false comet up there. So we will have to show that one, because there's also the wishing well. We'll need to show them one time as well. All right, and what's the next image you've got?
Oh, before we jump ahead, there's just been a question put forward in the Discord.
Oh, yes.
Suma126 asks what lens was used to capture this. The lens, I didn't use a lens on a camera, so as I turned a telescope into a lens. So I've got a Skywatcher ED80, a very, very friendly telescope to get into astrophotography with. And I've got an adapter called a T-ring adapter that allows me to connect my camera directly into the telescope and use that as if it were a lens. So with careful tuning and good tracking and lots of practice, you can start getting long exposures and beautiful images of deep sky objects.
And just before we go to the next one, that hydrogen is actually being is glowing because of the radiation from the stars hitting it. It's slightly warming it up. Those nebulas are anywhere between around about -400 to -500 degrees. So it doesn't take a lot to warm them up, and that causes them to glow as well. So it's there, and you've also got to be careful with some of these nebulas, because you go, right, I'm going to go photograph it, and if your camera doesn't have hydrogen alpha filter or something like that in it, you just get nothing, and you're going, why didn't I get the shot? And it's not.
So if I remember right, looking at the live view on a program called Nebulosity that I use while taking these exposures, it looked like there was nothing here. You have to really, really get in and look for that slight difference. This is one of those targets that would really benefit from a hydrogen alpha filter, just due to how low intensity red it is.
Because there's some of that dust and gas is reflecting light from the stars it's made, and normal cameras can usually pick that up. Like, you've got the Orion Nebula. That you get a lot of the reflected light from. That is actually just reflected light. It's not gas glowing. So yeah. All right. So shall we move to the next one now?
Of course.
Yep.
Okay. Let me zoom out all the way. There we go.
And if you see, you can see that both Riley and I have our Saturn V's. There's Riley's in the background, and you
Just
can
over my shoulder.
see, yeah, and mine's behind me as well. So, ooh, and this is the running chicken one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the running chicken.
Yeah.
I've never ever looked at this nebula and thought it looks like a running chicken. Personally, I don't know about you, Matt, but it's never looked like what it's named after, at least to
Well,
me.
I do have a selection of whiskies. I can try and drink a whole heap of it and see. But look, I think you could. I think you probably see that's probably the body of the chicken, and maybe if you're looking more upwards, that's probably the head. It's running
Off
with its back.
camera.
It's running with its head back and its chest forward. So that's the only way. Yeah. If you've ever seen a chicken run like that, mention it in the chat. We'd love to know. Okay. So this is in the southern hemisphere, and it's a part of it's part of the Carina Nebula part as well. So it's another star nursery. So we're seeing another area where baby stars are forming, and so you want to talk about how the process of taking this photo?
Yeah, so this one was kind of a bugbear for me earlier this year. For whatever reason, I decided to try and shoot this target from my backyard in Ballajura.
Yeah.
If you've ever done any kind of deep sky photography, you know that running chicken is really bad to shoot in light pollution, but for whatever reason, I decided it was the better time than ever. And I think I ended up across 5 nights shooting hours upon hours of data and trying to group them all together. I think I captured around about 14 hours in RGB, but had to shave that down to about 9. And then I also got about 5 hours in hydrogen alpha, which I had to shave down to 3.
Yeah.
So this was on paper about 20 hours worth of data going to come into an image, but in the end, it only boiled down to half that.
The things we do to get for astrophotography.
The things we do. The things we do.
But you've done a great job, and you can
Thank you
actually
very
see.
much.
You can, if you do want to just zoom in just for a second to the middle there. Yeah, just roughly where the. Okay, you can actually see there. We've got some what's called block globules there. So these guys are these little cocoons where baby stars are forming right now, and right there. So in there, you'll probably get at least one or a couple of star systems forming. So in there, you've got the protostar, and you've got material falling on that protostar. And when it's nearly ready to go, you'll actually see the jets of material coming off the north and south poles of those stars start to appear from out of those cocoons. And when it's hot enough for stars for the core of the star to start fusing hydrogen into helium, the star will ignite and turn on and blow away a lot of the material. If not, it ends up being a brown dwarf. So these guys are in between being a planet and being a star. It's fairly funny. It's not hot enough. It's like having a massive big gas giant, but it's so hot that you get iron rain, and we really only are able to see them using infrared telescopes. They don't give off too much, or they don't give off really any visible light. So we only really know where to find them due to infrared, because they emit a lot of heat. So, but this nebula is about 70. It's about 142 light years in diameter. So again, it's bigger than the Orion Nebula. And again, stuff always seems to be about 6,500 light years away from us. It's not just us pulling numbers out of our head. We do parallax where we take photos at at one time of the year, we wait 6 months to get around the other side of the sun. We take another photo, and then we use Pythagoras' theorem to work out the distance between us. But you can actually do it with your own eye by putting your finger up and then blinking the one and the other eye going back and forth, and you'll notice that your finger goes back and forth like that. So yeah. But yeah, you can, and again, you can see you've got a lot of hydrogen there as well, ionized. Ooh, and that's the one which is no stars, isn't it?
A starless process. So that you do lose some of the finer detail in this, but this is just a program you can run your finished astrophotography through. It's an AI. It thinks it's cleverer than it is, and it tries to remove stars from the image. You can see down the left-hand corner it's a bit messy, but the main body of the nebula itself, it's done quite a nice job of polishing it out, so we can see that main hydrogen structure glowing through a bit nicer without the stars getting in the way, so to speak.
Nice. And when we talk about Bloch globules, they're named after Danish astronomer Bart Bloch, who in the 1940s came up with the idea about maybe that stars are formed in these cocoons after seeing similar, like how insects developed as well. So yeah, it's nice being able to see what a nebula looks like just on its own as well. Sometimes it's a little bit freaky because you go, shouldn't there be stars?
It feels a bit wrong looking at it without the stars, I must say. The difference is, well, night and day almost between the two.
Before, what I'll do now is I'll actually show you guys where this is. So we're going to zoom out from Scorpio, and we're going to go in the southern hemisphere. And we shall...
I think we're about halfway from Carina to Crux.
Yeah.
So a bit further up the horizon. There's Statue of Liberty, is it?
Yep.
And then, a bit further northward.
Yeah, there's a Statue of Liberty one. We should do that one time as well.
That one comes out really nice.
Yeah, there
you are.
There. So you've got Musket the Fly, you've got the Southern Cross right there, Eta Carina, which we've shown before, and in between we've got this here. We've got the running chicken. See, even with Stellarium, I still can't see. Maybe that's the beak, like that's the head of the beak, and it comes down, and yeah.
Or are they supposed to be legs hanging off the bottom of the chicken, or?
Yeah, like that. Like maybe that's the leg, but it's not running. It's not like, if you were thinking it was the running chicken, wouldn't the leg come out here and you'd have another leg here, and but yeah. So, and that star that bright star we see is I'm surprised it doesn't have a name. SOA 251472. So the Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory catalogue. So yeah. All right. And do we have one more?
Yeah, we've got one more that we can take a look at.
Yeah. Okay, bring it back to yours. Ooh, now, who did this better, guys?
Don't do this. Oh, no.
No, it's okay. We won't do that. We'll have a lagoon off. All right, guys. So Riley was talking smack about Roger. He was saying he took a much better. He took a much better image of the lagoon nebula. So this is his. No, not really. No.
I've been betrayed here. Stitched up.
No. So what we did last time on the virtual star party, we actually had Roger showing some of his wide field photography of the Lagoon Nebula. But this is through the telescope, so we can actually really properly see it as well. I think we showed the Trifid Nebula, which is close by, through from one of his telescopes. But yeah, so this is the Lagoon Nebula right here, and it's really nebula night, isn't it? We have it was going to be star cluster with a nebula and galaxy tonight, but yeah, clouds ruin that. So we're going with nebula night tonight. So again, another nebula, so another star nursery where we've had baby stars forming. And do you want to have a talk about what you did to take this photo?
Yeah, so this one was a lot simpler than the running chicken. This was kind of an impulse image. I just got that itch one night to do some photography, so I dragged my mount up, set it up. And the only filter I used, I believe, was a ultra high contrast filter to help try and fight the light pollution.
Yep.
And it was only about 3 hours worth of data in the end that I ended up collecting and was being usable before I gave in to the cold and packed up for the night.
Yep.
But even then, I find it's come out quite nice. The Lagoon Nebula is very forgiving for small exposures. It's extraordinarily bright, and if you're careful with how long you set your exposures, you can keep lots of detail in the center of the core in there. That's what I was really trying to aim for with this one.
Yeah, it's really nice. And again, this was discovered by Giovanni Houdini in 1655, and it was one of the and it's you can actually see this with a binocular as well. It does help if you're in a not in the middle of Perth or a city, but you will notice through the binoculars an oval shaped cloud light patch, and that is that's the lagoon. So from what I can remember, the reason they call it a lagoon is they see you can see a patch of through the middle here. Yep, and so they see they see basically two lagoons, and then with a sandbar in the middle, and that's why it's called the Lagoon Nebula. There isn't actually any mythology apart from it was used by Ronald D. Moore in Battlestar Galactica and
help find Earth.
Yeah, help find Earth. So I can't see a massive big sign that says Earth this way. So.
Or any signs that say no swimming, for that matter.
Yeah. And so, did you is this RGB, so red, green, blue, or did you do?
Yeah. So this was one-shot color, so just a DSLR, just hitting go, no special color exclusive filters. So trying to keep that full broadband image, which, as Suma's mentioned in the chat, produces some really natural color in the image.
And so so no fancy stuff like luminance or oxygen 3 or hydrogen alpha. This is what you would see. This would be what you would see if you had really, really good eyes. Like if you could make your eyes do a 3-hour exposure, you'd get something like this. I hope. Yeah. You'd have to have like different modes, because you couldn't do a 3-hour exposure in the middle of the day, because you'd be walking around with with lights. But it is about 4,000 to 6,000 light years away. Again, around that, it's like $500 for a website or for servicing your car. It's just generally the ballpark figure. Yeah, ballpark figure. Yeah. But again, it has really big stars in there, type O stars, and a lot of that redness that you can actually see there, that's coming from radiation from those big stars in the cluster in the middle there, and that radiation is causing the glow. The more greenish color, that is the actual light from those stars hitting dust and gas and then coming back and reflecting as well. So yeah.
And continuing on from the running chicken, we've also got a couple of Bach globules through here, but most of the cocoons have already opened, and the stars inside have already begun burning properly. They're no longer in that hot Jupiter phase. They're fully fledged stars now.
And you've got the little, you've also got little cones and all that kind of stuff on the edges as well. So it's almost there. And then if you go up the top there, it looks like
up through here,
giving us the giving us the finger. Yeah,
cosmic message.
And they're one of the first 4 Herbrig Harrow objects was discovered in this nebula in the center area there. So these were stars which have got the jets coming off the very young stars. They've got material still falling on them, and so they get with the magnetic fields that gets pushed to the north and south poles, and then gets fired out, very much like a railgun, so at near light speed as well. So they're pretty awesome things to have a look at. So I think actually it's one of the guys at ICRA, the International Center for Radio Astronomy Research, is looking into that as well. So. All right. So I think what we'll do is we'll leave that there for tonight. Thanks very much for joining us, Riley. And guys, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We've got through some technical difficulties there, and I thought, well, I think what happened was we were super prepared beforehand. We got everything ready, and then I think we got overconfident, and the clouds plus technology, just when you think you're confident, they always like to say, well, we'll show you, and
knock you right back down.
Yes. So what we'll do is we'll if you could like the video, share it with your friends, that would be fantastic. So we can get more people having a look at the lovely night sky. We've also got October, if you're wanting to come up and have a look through our telescopes at the observatory. October is going to be a really good time because Jupiter and Saturn will be high in the night sky as well. So definitely book now. September is nearly fully booked. I think there's only the 30th of Thursday, the 30th of September. It's amazing. We need to get more volunteers. So, and also, if you are wanting to become a volunteer, you volunteer with me, volunteer with Roger, save money on astronomy because you don't have to buy telescopes yourself. You can. We're going to have our next volunteer intake in September. So if you go onto our website, perthobservatory.com.au, under Get Involved, there is a link called Become a Volunteer. Put your details in there, and that goes to our lovely volunteer manager, Julie, who will get in contact with you, and we'll let you know. And you can become a volunteer. And we really are, if you want to become a Nights Tour person, we ask for about 2 nights a month. But if you can't, we've got school day tours, we do guided day tours. We're coming up to 125 years of history at the observatory. So, the old girl's looking pretty good for her age. But we also need people who are maidens. This place, there's a lot of light glows. There's a lot of telescopes to maintain. And also we need office people as well. So please feel free to join. We take anyone. Well, you do need a license because obviously we're in the Perth Hills. The public transport is something to be left to be desired, but it is really good. We have a wide range of people in age, sex, and creed, and and we've got people from all over the world, and so we would love to have you. And all you need to do is have a love of astronomy. We'll teach you. We'll even teach you how to public speak as well, as part of the training session. So we do some interviews, and then if we like you and you like us, we go into a 4-week training session. The first week's all the paperwork where you've got to sign power of attorney to me, and and then we go on. Then we actually will teach you how to use some of the telescopes, and also how to do public talks. And it's really good. And we have volley dinners. We do movie nights for our volunteers as well. So and we do large events as well. So you get to learn. If you're coming out of uni and you need some experience, this is a really cool way of getting that experience, because they're always looking for 3 or 4 years experience. Well, this is a good way to do it. So, all right, guys. Well, hopefully we'll see you again. I think the next one, if I let's have a look. The next one will be on the 4th of August. So that is Wednesday. And look, if you're just watching this on record, and you want to ask any questions, feel free to join the Discord chat, ask them, and we'll answer them in time as well. And thanks very much for joining. Hopefully you'll like and subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you next time in August. Have a great night. Bye.
Catch you later.
Oh, cool.